Welcome to Sinister Heroes. I'm your host, Danny Iniquitous. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about Dungeons and Dragons where we try and take a darker tone with everything we do here. So if you like edgy kind of content, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, the link is in the description. And a good big shout out to our friends at Dice Legion. Use the promo code Sinister, get 10% off all of your purchases. Their link is also in the description. We are doing a huge push. We're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We cannot do it without your help. If you're a returning viewer and you like what you see, definitely hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to us. We cannot achieve this goal without you guys. It means the world to us. Please help us out if you see that you're enjoying the content or you've come back a couple of times. With all that out of the way, we're going to talk about the Githyanki. The Githyanki come to us from Mordenkainen's Tomb of Foes and then was later reprinted in Monsters in the Multiverse. The Githyanki are the violent, aggressive version of the Gith. The Gith kind of split in two trains of thought, one being more meditative and centering, and one being very insanely aggressive and dangerous. The more spiritual and contemplative and very, very centered and finding this kind of unity and oneness comes down to the githzerai. All of those guys there kind of live in their own way of trying to better themselves and kind of fix up what they've done and make themselves the best version of themselves. The Githyanki are just out there to literally kill everything. They are conquerors. They are dangerous. They are the product of years and centuries of constant genetic manipulation by the illithids. They use them as shock troopers. They use them as slaves. They use them as everything. And there's a lot of animosity between them. The Githyanki are the ones you will most likely meet if you are encountering any kind of illithid, as they will be jumping across multiverses and universes just to wipe them off the face of the earth. The Githyanki, they have this special deal with Tiamat, and it's a very funny deal because their leader, the original leader, is missing. And they don't know what happened to them because of this deal brokered by the Lich that's currently ruling them now. But in part of that deal, somehow they got this allegiance from Tiamat that gives them red dragons. So the highest thing a Githyanki can do is get knighted. It gives them a red dragon and a silvered sword. Now, it's not a normal just silvered weapons like you can do at any blacksmith. It is a specialized silver sword that is designed to destroy illithids. It has a lot of bonuses to it. It's like a +3 greatsword. I forget the actual in-game name for it because it's not listed as a silver sword. But it's a powerful lore weapon for them. There's only so many of them made, and they will send countless Yonkai to recover a blade that has gone missing. It is vital to them. It's a very cool dynamic of how you can become like this greater Gith by becoming knighted, because that's your main purpose. The Yonkai are out there to be conquerors. And when you've conquered enough, when you've done great things, you're given the greatest prestige of being knighted and giving a silvered sword. Your base stats are pretty average. There's nothing extremely special here. You live for about a century. Your base walking speed is 30. You are a humanoid. One of the things I want to mention is that we're going to cover the Mordenkainen Tomb of Foes because it gives you more of abilities than you get with the Monsters in the Multiverse. So that does require your strength score to be +2, and your intelligence score gets a +1 as your ability score increases. If you're going to use the other version, or maybe you're going to kind of mix them together, just make sure to talk to your DM about it. An important thing to note is there are no Giths that naturally have dark vision, so that is something you will have to adjust how you play your game in order to compensate. Or if you've never played a character without dark vision, definitely give it a try. It's really not that bad. Decadent Mastery. You learn one language of your choice, and you are proficient with one skill or tool of your choice. In the timeless city of Tunarath, Githyanki have boundless time to master odd bits of knowledge. So this has to do with where they actually live. They live in like this, I forget what it's called, but it's kind of like an astral plane where everything stops. They're like living inside of a dead god. They kind of just carve their home from their bones and live within them. There is no time here, so there's no hunger, there's no thirst. Like whatever place your body is in that moment when you enter this place, that's kind of how you feel the entire time. So because of that, they spend countless aeons doing all sorts of crazy stuff. They live for about a century, but they go into this place very often. Basically, they'll go and I want to say they lay eggs, but they give birth on like a planet like Toril, and then go and raise them till they're about teenagers, which is when they become adults, and then they bring them back to the astral plane. Once there, they'll spend like 40, 50 years training, doing military practices, studying, learning their own history, and then they'll come out into the world for whatever purposes they need to, and then they'll come back. So that century of life that they live is only when they're not in this astral sea. So they can live to be thousands of years old if they never leave their home. But they'll never really accomplish anything, and they'll never be able to achieve that great goal of being knighted. So they all are soldiers. They're kind of built that way. They're trained that way. They're trained to fight. They're trained to know combat and to do strategies. That's part of the reason why they're nothing to be laughed at. They are genetically superior, modified creatures who have spent ages, lifetimes studying combat. Like, they're really, really gnarly. Like, they're not meant to be kidded around. If you see a gith like, if gith were real and you saw one in real life, it would be a frightening moment for you. So because of that, they have this great opportunity to learn everything, which is a great, cool concept when you really think about it. Martial prodigy. You are proficient with light and medium armor, and with short swords, long swords, and great swords. This is again because they're trained soldiers. They are meant to do fighting. They are meant to get in there and do horrible things and get out. This works really well if you're playing something like a caster or like a sorcerer or a wizard. Probably a wizard because of the intelligence bonus. But this gives you some pretty beefy AC that you wouldn't normally have, and it gives you availability to do a couple of different things. Now, I can't imagine many wizards wielding greatswords, but an Eldritch Knight might be very, very astute for this. Maybe it's a level dip. Maybe you started out in wizard and then we're going into Eldritch Knight later for something. This is a great way to start out. If you wanted to start out wizard, or if you just wanted to be a wizard and just have these extra proficiencies just because medium armor is a big bonus to you, it does create very cool creative options for what kind of character you could be as a gith, and it still kind of encourages you to really use that kind of martial and melee mentality. This would be great if you picked up green flame blade and we're gonna be like a rogue, like you can do cool things like that, or a wizard that was going to end up being in melee. Maybe you took the variant human or custom lineage and grabbed tough, and now you grab this, and now you're going to be an evocation wizard who's just going to be up front, which is actually a really cool concept. That really gets taken out, and I think it's because it makes a lot of different classes a little bit too strong. Githyanki psionics. You know the mage hand cantrip, and the hand is invisible when you cast the cantrip with this trait. When you reach 3rd level, you can cast a jump spell once with this trait, and you regain the ability to do so when you finish a long rest. When you reach 5th level, you can cast the Misty Step spell once with this trait. You regain the ability to do so when you finish a long rest. Intelligence is a spellcasting ability when you use these spells, and when you cast them with this trait, they don't require components. The reason why they don't require components is because you're using it through psionics and not through tangible spellcasting means, where you're pulling from the weave. Psionics is using your brain power to just make this stuff happen. The difference Obviously, the githzerai get shield and detect thoughts for their psionic spells, but here you get jump and misty step. And the reason why is because you can use these abilities to pursue. And that's really what their reasoning is. You can use jump to get into places that you need to maybe fight or climb up something, so that way you can jump onto maybe ships or whatever it is to pursue illithids. Misty Step gives you a teleport, which I imagine if illithids are going to escape, that's going to be one of their major reasons of doing so. Following suit, that would make a very, very profound moment just to hunt them down and limit their ability for someone else to escape. The Yonkai are aggressive, so this fits that they would have spells that can help keep them attached to someone or bring them towards something or put them in an advantageous position. Our final thoughts. The Githyanki are our favorite Gith. There's just so much great lore and hatred towards such an evil entity. Like, they are really the definition of the principle of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. They only are out there to decimate. And if you're fighting illithids, they will fight them with you. And then once the illithids are gone, they will fight you. They are just conquerors. And they have this beautiful moment where they can just escape from the world and learn and grow and undertake a new entire theory of life or whatever it is, because they have that time. It's funny because their vacation is war. They leave this timeless world where they can do whatever they want and pick up new skills and try whatever they want and go out and conquer and risk their lives and fight and try to earn red dragons and silvered swords and kill everything in sight in the name of their lich goddess. And then they return to their home where everything stands still and they can spend all the time that they want with the people that they know, their families, whatever their relationships are. It's such a strange dichotomy of thought when you consider, how does a character live like that? You know? How does that affect your attitudes towards pain, loss, and death? Like, not a lot of things are hunting the Gith because they are very terrified to go to their home place. So seeing them out in the world and being out in the world, this thing where like wounds and like everything is permanent, like, and time moves and your life is being spent there and it's not at your home, how does that affect who you are? That's the real question, as to who is your Gith. What are you doing when you're literally watching the sands just really burn down that hourglass while you're on this vacation, while you're out there trying to fight and bring back the heads of illithids so that way you can get those silvered swords? Like, it's crazy to consider how a life could be lived like that. You know, like, this is their opportunity to prove their worth, and it costs them their life. And you're spending it the entire time you're there. It's a cool thing. I like to think about it a lot. I think it's a great way to kind of create this permanence, this aggression. We have to move now. We have to move now. We have to move now, because the sooner you get it done, the longer your life is. And it's so incredibly dangerous at the same time. It's a fun concept. I really like that idea. I like the animosity. I like the aggression. I like the cold-heartedness of the Githyanki. They are not to be toyed with, and they are scary. That being said, we're going to bring this video to a close. If you've made it this far, definitely hit a like. If you're going to come back and maybe want to check out some of our other videos, definitely hit that subscribe button. Again, we're doing this huge push to hit 2,000 by the end of the year. We cannot do it without you. Thank you so much, guys, for all of your support. Thank you for commenting. You guys have anything to say about Gith, we'd love to hear it. Love to hear from you guys. It's always very great to see some of the great stories and characters you come up with. Definitely comment about it. We'd love to get in contact with you guys. Big shout out to our Patreons. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We love what you do. You mean the world to us, and a lot of what we do now wouldn't be possible without you. Big shout out to our good friends at Dice Legion. Use the promo code Sinister, get 10% off all your purchases. With everything said and done, Thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.